Hello everyone, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome back to another video. Now, whilst I'm not really known for covering the news or keeping you all in the loop with what's going on, some pretty big news actually dropped earlier today regarding the status of the Kombat Pack and the remainder of its contents. Stuff that hasn't really been addressed beyond Twitter. So today we'll be touching on what's going on there, briefly touch on Final Combat, as well as discuss what does this mean moving forward. Anywho, enough of the faffing, let's get right into things. Now of course, over the weekend, we did have the Mortal Kombat 1 Pro League Finals. And understandably, one of the biggest questions raised during this event was whether or not we would get a reveal. Would there be a trailer, one possibly showing off Takeda? Would there be an announcement for Season 2? What about the next big story expansion? Well, we got none of that. There was no trailer at all, and I think we now know why that's the case. Now mind you, they didn't hint that anything would be shown off beforehand, so expectations were pretty low, all things considered. But considering the huge reveal we got at the last Final Combat, with Keith David presenting us Spawn, it's quite understandable why some of us may have been disappointed. Now of course, let's touch on the Kombat Pack, because currently we only have two characters left, Takeda Takahashi and Ferra. Now originally, Ferra was kinda set up to coincide with Homelander's release, as she did heavily feature in his trailer, as well as his combat cast. But unlike previous cameos, whose release dates are typically revealed in the post-show, Ferra was labelled as TBD. We weren't given a real release date publicly, but behind the scenes in emails promoting the duo, they accidentally leaked the date for June 25th. So understandably, we've been waiting, as we hadn't heard very much. Thus, going into Final Combat, I think many of us hope to have this information revealed, or at the very least, a date given. So we've been understandably waiting on more information, and keeping our eyes close on Final Combat, believing that we could, at the very least, maybe get a trailer or a tease for what was coming next. Which now all leads into today's tweet. So, this all comes from the official Mortal Kombat Twitter page, and it does say the following. Before we can release Ferra as our next cameo fighter, we need a bit more time to make sure she can assist to the best of her abilities. Ferra will now be available alongside Takeda's early access on July 23rd. We thank you for your patience and will keep you updated. So from what you can tell, there's quite a bit to take away from this tweet. The good news is that we now have an official release date for Takeda. So after painstakingly waiting for him for so long, it's great to know when he'll be available, as it will allow us to scope out a rough time frame for when this trailer should drop. The big negative, however, is of course the Ferra situation, and from what you can tell with the language used here, this delay has clearly been done to hash out some bugs and issues with the character. As for what these bugs could be, they could quite literally be anything at this point. I will say there has been quite a bit of controversy around this particular move in the combat cast, so there may be some changes there, but again, this is all merely an idea. So this now takes us onto the question of, when could we see Takeda? We got the date, so when could we see the trailer? Well, I do know we have CEO, which does take place on the 28th of June to the 30th. So it's about a week and a half away from now. But realistically, I don't actually see this happening. NetherRealm hasn't done a big trailer reveal at an offline outside of EVO in a very long time. In fact, the last time I do think they did it was at their own event with the previous Final Combat. And talking about EVO, I do find this to be the most likely contender of the bunch, as it's the only real event that gets reveals from NetherRealm. Along with this, EVO is taking place on the 19th of July to the 21st, which is literally 4 days from release. And with Mortal Kombat trailers, they're typically revealed 1 week before they're out. So I think of all the times and dates we have here, EVO is the most likely, as it is the largest exhibition of fighting games, and really the place to go when you want to show off a new character. Plus, we know that this year, Mortal Kombat will be there on their finals day. Now please don't take my word as gospel here, as Warner could simply release it 1 week earlier regardless, but I still wanted to throw out my educated guesses here. Of course, with this on the table, it does raise the question of Season 2, as well as the next big story expansion, but NetherRealm have been unbelievably tight-lipped about it. So I have no idea what's going on with it right now. All I can probably say is keep an eye out for the Game Awards this year, as it's probably the most likely place for it to be shown off. With that said everyone, this kinda sums up this whole situation with the Kombat Pack. I know a lot of us are still very heavily invested in this game, and with Twitter being the only means of communication from the developers, I felt like I needed to make this video, as not everyone wants to be on that hell site. Anywho, that kinda sums up everything I wanted to talk about here. I may make more videos like this in the future if such things occur. But for now everyone, that's it for me. Let's get back to our normal scheduled programming. So as always, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.